What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Coach Rob 619 back with another video. In today's video I'll be discussing vintage Parfums X Batch. A lot of you guys requested this, so I said I would bring it, and here it goes. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I bring a lot of content, fragrances, compliments, and anything that's related to smelling good, you'll find it here on this channel. Alright guys, so in today's video obviously we're going to be discussing vintage Parfums X Batch. And I have the bottle right here. This was highly requested by my subs. They wanted to hear my take on this one and what I thought about it. And when I got this, to give you a brief history, I reviewed Dior Sauvage back in the day. The review will be right here. You can link to it. And back then, there was two things people said about Dior Sauvage. They said one, it was sucked, it was generic, it was something Dior shouldn't have put out, and two, people said it smelled like a vintage. So, and I still don't get that. I don't know where people got that from. But to this day, people still say that they get a vintage vibe from Dior Sauvage. So, when I got this in the mail, the company sent this to me. When I got to my P.O. box, when I got this, I didn't know this was supposed to, I got this probably about a month or two ago. And I didn't know this was supposed to be a Dior Sauvage clone. I thought this was another vintage, but the X Batch, you got the pineapple in the bottle. So I thought this was another a vintage clone or a variation of one of their batches. So when I smelt it, right off the top, I got a nice kind of pineapple, citrus, fresh citrus pineapple vibe that's reminiscent of a vintage. So I'm like, okay, this is another vintage clone. Smelled good. I was impressed with the opening, and so as I'm driving in my car, I'm on a freeway, and it starts developing into something else, and I'm like, I smelled this fragrance before. I couldn't think of what it was, and as I'm driving, it's driving me crazy. I'm like, what is this that I'm smelling? I'm like, there it is. You know, it came to me, Dior Sauvage. So this opens up with the pineapple kind of vibe and the vintage vibe. It transitions into Dior Sauvage. So I'm like, damn. And at the time, I didn't know this was supposed to be a Dior Sauvage clone. So when I get home, I jump on the internet. I'm just seeing what other people are saying about it. And they're like, yeah, it's, you know, it's a Dior Sauvage clone, etc., etc. And so now I'm like, okay, that's what this is. So now that I know this is supposed to be a clone, it all makes sense. And to be honest, to me, this actually smells better than Dior Sauvage. To me, it has a little bit more complexity to it, because you do get that great vintage kind of vibe in the beginning, and then you get that Dior Sauvage vibe after that, and they're definitely blending. It also has like what blends both of them together. It has like a soapy lavender vibe, which I love lavender. That's one of my favorite notes of perfumery. That lavender, that soapiness blends that fresh vintage vibe and that Dior Sauvage together. And for me, there's something in Dior Sauvage that sometimes when I wear it, it gives me a headache. It's like a sweet candy kind of vibe, kind of generic vibe in it. Some note that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I wear it, it gives me a headache. And this Dior Sauvage, this Pineapple Vintage X Batch doesn't give me that vibe. So it's more fresher, it's cleaner. And this is definitely a compliment getter, man. You're gonna get a lot of compliments with this fragrance, and that's pretty much one of the biggest factors when it comes to this. Is people are gonna smell it around you. It projects good, and you're gonna get a lot of compliments. So to break this fragrance down, when it comes to performance, I would say I'm getting about a good 4 hours of projection. I'm getting about 6 hours of longevity. So in the performance department, I would probably give this maybe a 3 out of 5, just because that projection period, that 8, like when I go to work from about 8 to 12, people smell it, people are complimenting me. After my lunch break, from that point to the end of the day, it's pretty much close to the skin, pretty much vanished. Nobody get it, but for that first 4 hours, it does project strong. It's going to be a big cloud around you. People are going to pick it up. People are going to compliment you. So for that alone, I got to give it about a 3 out of 5. For smell, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. You take a vintage pineapple, you combine that with Dior Sauvage and put it in one, that's automatically a number. That's a 5. I mean, you can't go wrong with a fragrance that smells like that. People around you are going to definitely love it. So 5 out of 5, this is getting as far as the smell. So for the compliment factor, obviously 5 out of 5. You will get noticed. People will smell it. They will come up, compliment you. They will ask you what you have on. And you're going to get noticed wearing this, especially for that first 4 hour mark. So when you first get to work, or when you first spray it on the first 4 hours, people around you will notice it. So for that fact, 5 out of 5 as far as compliment factor. So for overall value, I got to give this a 2 out of 5. Being that this is a clone, I got to knock it down a couple notches. And Also because it's cloning a designer fragrance that's not that expensive. So if you was to go get Dior Sauvage on the Dior website for a 2-ounce bottle, it's going to be about 77 bucks. This on the Pineapple's Vintage website, or Parfums Vintage website, for 1.7, I think it's about 75 bucks. So it's $2 cheaper. So for me, when it comes to something that smells like the original and it's only $2 cheaper than the original, I'm just gonna get the original. If this was $49.99, bargain. That's a steal. At the way this smells, at 50 bucks, it's a no-brainer. But for 75 bucks when the original is $77, I'm gonna go ahead and get the Dior. I'm gonna get the original. To me, the original lasts longer, performs a little bit better, but this smells better. So you weigh your options. You know, it's up to you guys. But for me personally, I'm gonna go with Dior Sauvage because of the price point. I would go with this if it was 50 bucks because it does smell better. It's an overall better scent outside of the overall value. So that's my take on it. But overall, guys, this Pineapple Vintage X-Backs, they really outdid themselves with this one. It seems like everything that they release is getting better and better and better. I think they still gotta pin down that price point. But as far as the quality of the juice, as far as the smell, as far as the compliments, the stuff I'm getting from them is getting better. And I received a lot of fragrances from them. I don't review all of them. I only review the things that I actually enjoy. And but I'm noticing, so I smelt a lot of the stuff that they've made. And it just seems like everything I'm getting is getting better and better. The quality is getting improved. The performance is getting improved. I'm getting more compliments with the stuff that they're sending me. So Pineapple Vintage, they put out quality juice. Definitely get your nose on this X-Batch if you haven't already. Buy you a sample from this site. You won't be disappointed, especially if you like Dior Sauvage or you like Creed's Vintage. Great fragrances. But depending on what the ladies say, determines what I spray. Peace.